Gamer Dan, my man, what's going on?
Hey, hey, how's things?
Well, I had a shave, but the side of my head. Yeah, I often don't. I look like I'm a vagabond, as my wife would often say. But I just thought I'd shave it up. It's tough to keep it very level like you do. You're very master. But this dude's slick. I
Product,
tell
my
you.
friend, product.
Yeah, I'm cheap, man. I gotta level up my game, including for this machine. Sorry, everybody who can't
Hmm.
stream directly from YouTube because of my low specs in my from my shaver to my machine. So
Yeah, technical issues, technical issues.
yeah, man, and that's it. And for the record, people, I'm just going to be moving as of this week, so the upload's going to be a bit slower. But Gamer Dan's done us a solid and giving us some more gameplay videos that'll hold us over. We settle things down, and yeah, man, going to know Gamer Dan for about 2 years now. Has it been 2 years we've known each other?
No, about
Yeah.
2 years.
Wow, man. So yeah, and yeah, as I move away, even professionally in other capacities, we keep in touch. But so our relationship's gonna be a bit different now. It's gonna be like, yeah, just purely friendship, not so much people we know. I know more professionally in that
Yeah,
capacity.
not friend.
So yeah, um, all right, gamer done. Right now, you've got gamer. I keep saying gamer. You've got Marvel games recorded, and I thought we'd do a little chat about the Marvels before I upload those vids.
Yeah.
And you've recommended some things. Would
Yeah,
you?
I say, Marvel games have been kind of hitting a few out of the park recently. There've been a lot of pretty decent Marvel games that have been released by different companies, true, but they've been kind of on a hot streak. We've had Marvel's Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 5 to rousing success, near perfect critical acclaim. Over the past couple of years, we've had the Marvel Midnight Suns, which is the game I've started doing. I did want to stream Guardians of the Galaxy. I played that, and I gotta say, I freaking loved that game. I two thumbs up. Anyone out there who's on the fence about picking it up, if you see it on sale, snap it up immediately.
No, do it.
You can play it on PC or PlayStation. I think it's on Xbox as well. But I decided against streaming it because just like the MCU's Guardians of the Galaxy movies, the soundtrack was a massive part of it. It's actually a
Mm,
gameplay feature, and they paid through the nose to get a license some great tracks, whole plethora of just great iconic music
sounds
that you
stunning, man.
use in gameplay in battle, which just yes please, all of that, just put it to my veins.
Yeah.
But if you're streaming with, majorly licensed, famous tracks, there's going to be licensing issues. So there was an option to play Sans licensed songs.
Mhm.
Screw that. No, I bought the game for the soundtrack, so I'm gonna play. I just play it on my own,
Yeah,
but I thoroughly recommend it.
yeah.
If you are interested in the game, but you're still a little bit on the fence, I really recommend Zero Punctuation's review. He hits the nail very close to the head. Obviously, he's a critic, so he talks negatively about lots of aspects. But if you're comfortable with what he's saying, I think it's a fantastic game. It's really fun.
That's fantastic, dude. Oh my God. Looking forward to it. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's
Yeah,
all about
but
leveling up.
upcoming. There's a couple of upcoming games that I'm a little bit and ahhing about. As you can see from the video, you can see Blade by Arc and
Uh-huh.
Bethesda. Basically, the same people who made Redfall, which was a commercial and critical dumpster fire. It was just, holy lord, just not well received.
Mm,
There it is, Bethesda
Bethesda
and
and
Arcane.
Arcane. Yeah. These.
And they made a game with vampires and shooting, which is Blade's raison d'etre. He's a
Yes.
vampire hunter with a blade and a gun. So they should be right up their alley. But their last game was so bad, it's kind of put me off of it. Like,
Mm,
oh, I if they could learn from their mistakes, you know what? That could be good. Maybe they'll put out a decent game, not a great one, but a decent game.
mm,
But you know what? I'm gonna live and let live. I'm gonna wait to see. All they've released is a short cinematic trailer, which means I've seen no gameplay.
Mm.
I got no idea what it is, but I can assume from the company and from the, the IP, probably going to be a first-person shooter with guns and blades.
Yeah.
But that's very Blade. Looks sounds good. Sounds like the kind of thing I would make if I was going to make a Blade game. But underneath Blade, that's the one I'm a little bit iffy about. The one I'm more excited about is Marvel 1943. This looks so good. And not just because I'm a comic book fan. I'm sure I've mentioned it many times in earlier videos. I got into fandom,
Mm.
into fanning over things. You can use that as a verb. Can you use that as a verb? To fan over
Oh
something?
yes, 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 definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The first thing I fanned over was comic books. I remember my first book. I remember buying my first comic book. And have been a devoted fan of
Mm.
all the things. All my hobbies. Reading comics is my number one. I will rather read a comic than play a game or watch a movie or listen to music. Anything else. Given a choice, that is where I would gravitate towards. Um, so I'm a big Marvel buff. My brother was a DC head, but I'm a Marvel guy,
Mm.
and the the lore behind Captain America, and this isn't T'Challa. This is most likely going to be T'Chaka, his father, because it's set in 1943. There is precedent. There is a story, a well-known, a well-documented story of Captain America getting his ass handed to him by T'Challa's father when he went to Wakanda, because he's the Black Panther, and the Black
Mm.
Panther is perhaps one of the coolest characters in all of Marvel. It's the title of the Black Panther. You have to be the best of the best if you want to be the Black Panther.
Mm.
So anyone who wears that mantle,
Mm.
has just got all the skills, like all the skills. He's Batman of
Marvel.
people talk about
Ah.
Iron Man being the Batman of Marvel. No, it's not. It is Black Panther all the way in his methodology. It is the
Ah.
careful, thoughtful, intelligent practice and preparation, the planning for contingencies. He is the Batman of, and the stealth aspect. He is the Batman
Interesting.
of Marvel, and this looks really good. But I think the biggest problem I'm having with this game is you can see it. There are four people, and why the hell would you want to play as the soldier or the spy on either side of the freaking superheroes who have all the powers and the weapons? It just, if this is a four-player game, if this is a story game and you play through with as each character, like you play through the Black Panther story and you play through the events from his perspective, and then you play through a second time as Captain America. So you play through the same events, but from Cap's perspective. Yes, all of that. I'll play through all four characters, I will relish it. But if it's a four-player game, oh man, I see a lot of people rage quitting when they get
Yeah.
anyone other than the superheroes. Just
This is a good. Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of. Speaking of Batman, it reminds me of the Batman versus Superman movies.
hmm.
Of course, the premise of which it sounds like a complete. Uh, the only way that would work is if the certain logistics played out so that there was kryptonite everywhere, so Superman had to be hamstrung. But there's no way anybody stands a candle next to Superman in a fight. So it seems. That
Yeah.
that being said, I didn't. No, I didn't see the show, so I'm just talking speculatively. But
The film, the problem with the DCMU, the DC, sorry, DCEU, the extended DC universe was they tried to do what Marvel did in two movies. Marvel took 10. They gave, they had their Avengers movie after Iron Man 1 and 2, Hulk, Thor, Captain
ah,
America. They gave each of their principal characters a movie to develop them, to introduce them, to kind of give them their kind of origin story,
mm,
and to add extra characters, to add layers to this world. And then when they did Avengers, they didn't introduce anyone. They just went Avengers. Boom, threat appears, title card. They're in the on screen together. And they hit the ground running, and that worked because it allowed the actual story to play out. The film was allowed to tell a self-contained story. It didn't dedicate the first third of its runtime to introducing anyone. It didn't need to. we knew who these people were.
Yeah.
DC, the first film was introducing Superman, and the second film was not only introducing Batman, but Lex Luthor, Kryptonite, and making them fight.
That's a that dude. That's a very. I love what you just spilled it out there. Batman sometimes has not been, well, often, in fact, maybe never, has been given the. I mean, like, the Joker. For goodness sake, the Joker was given his actual movie, like, as in that's just on him. It's not like
The
the villain
creation
in
of the
Batman.
Joker.
Yeah, but Batman is often not without the Butler, not without the villains, and oh, sorry, I'm not talking about Batman. Even sorry, I mixed them up. Superman, for goodness sake. Well, hey, what am I talking about? Superman's been given Smallville and all these little spin-off things and these TV shows, but it's not the same as a movie. But still, even Batman, is not he's often presented in juxtaposition with his opponent, but the actual focus on
Yeah.
the development of Batman, there's a lot of talk about this how he grew up, but as in a
It
movie.
it's the traditional tropes for superhero films tend to follow simple archetypes: hero's journey, the development, the creation myth, things like that. And most superhero films fall into one of a few categories. One of which being the creation. We see the introduction of this superhero, or the reintroduction. He has to change and become anew again. But Batman is a character who needs an enormous load of work to become Batman. He has to do the training, the study, the work, and that's we don't often see that. We saw that in Batman Begins. We got a Batman creation movie in that, but in the first 1989 Batman, he was already up and running. It was we were introduced to Batman. We never saw his creation. We saw the Joker being created. And then again in the Batman versus Superman, Batman had been Batmaning for decades. He had had multiple Robins at this point. Was a fixture existing in the world. Superman was introduced. We saw the creation of the Superman, him donning the cape and becoming the hero. But Batman was already around. He was already a thing. So they tried to lean straight into the fighting to streamline it to get him fighting, but we needed a bit of a build up, introduce us to this Batman. Let us get this at his headspace.
Yeah, that's it, man.
I just felt
Like,
that the film rushed so much. If they'd given us a movie where they were introduced,
mm,
they had allied goals, but they went about it in different ways, and it created friction. And in the third film, it brought them into blows. Someone threw fuel on the fire to make them fight, which is what Lex Luthor did in the film. Sorry, spoilers, but no,
all right.
sorry, but not sorry. Don't watch that movie. Just avoid it. But the film is them fighting because Lex makes them fight. That's the only reason why that and the faux kryptonite is the only reason that Batman has any chance. But you need to hamper Superman in order to do that.
Yeah, and
So
yeah, I guess, as you said, you started off as a comic book head, so just going hard on the story that way, it's a bit like reading, of course, like reading the Harry Potter books before going to watch the movies. When I watch the third one, I always say, this the movie, man. I mean, as much as like people liked it, my brother, for instance, who didn't. Well, first of all, my brother, my whole family read the Harry Potter books, but still, my brother liked the third movie, but I was like, come on, they rushed that Marauders map thing like crazy. Is it the map never lies? Remember that scene when I understand I only have a few minutes to bring out, but that book really opened my mind to the idea of uh, the media kind of painting somebody as one thing, and when you get to know them more, your whole worldview changes. That I just love the whole breakdown of Peter Pettigrew coming out as being alive, and the whole betrayal being explained, and Harry finally waking up to realize what's going on. That took
yeah,
time.
they glazed over all of that.
Yeah.
They sprinted through this massive emotional point. This could have been a whole section of the movie. Really building out their friend was still alive. He'd also been a betrayer. Everything that had happened was largely his fault.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, man, it's a right race through that really got me. annoyed. I mean,
I mean, it was
so
Ron's freaking rat, for God's sake.
yeah, it's my gosh. Like, no, I guess it was a kids movie, but maybe they thought kids couldn't handle it. But
But it's a prime example of how when you change one medium into another, you can't judge it by the same merits.
yeah,
A good film is a good film because it's a good film.
mm,
A good book is a good book because it's a good book. But if you take a good book, that doesn't make a good film. You can
yeah,
make a good film based on a good book, but you can't make a good book a good film because they're different, entirely different mediums. And I think that's one of the problems historically that video game movies have had. Video games are not only a visual but an interactive medium.
mm,
The story is told, the way that they present it. There's a go between between the game and the player. The player is an active participant in the story. My actions dictate how this story plays out. I might speed run my way to the boss, or I might go a meandering route,
yeah.
collecting all
It's
kinds of things, and becoming an entirely different person by the time I hit the boss.
dude.
But
Oh
a
my gosh.
film is a passive
Yeah,
experience. The books are a passive one. They have to craft a wonderful story, create a narrative, build the world out, and they can do this great, fantastically. As I said, my preferred hobby is reading. I read comic books,
mm, you said
but
it, mate.
I acknowledge that different hobbies, different medium, scratch different itches. Now, I'm a huge fan of dinosaurs. Have been ever since I was a child, will always will be. I'm a big dino nerd. So when the Jurassic Park films came out, I went hog wild, even though they were horror films, I was in it.
Mm,
And the moment I got my hands on the books by Michael Crichton, I devoured them. But the books are entirely different story, man. It is a wildly different story.
wow.
Same for the Dexter series. Do you remember the Dexter,
The killing.
the TV show with the serial killer?
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched season one of that and thought, oh my God, it's incredible. So then I immediately went out and bought the first book, Darkly Dreaming Dexter.
Mm,
Recommend. Very good.
wow.
But the book is almost identical to the TV series up until the final episode. Then it veers off violently in a different direction. And both the books and the TV series run parallel to each other. They have different opponents, different antagonists, different people are alive or dead. It
Yeah.
is a very different story. But neither one was bad. I enjoyed the TV series. Addendum. For those of you who did watch the TV series to its conclusion, I haven't. I haven't. I've only watched the first 4 seasons. I wasn't able to watch the latest series for a period, and then when the reviews came out, people went, "It's garbage." I went, "Okay, I won't watch those. I'll preserve the good Dexter
Mm,
series." So in my head, it's always been a great series. It's just a
yeah.
short one,
Yeah.
but I have read all the books. Again, hit and a miss. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, but they are very different beasts
Very different,
to the
dude.
later ones.
I don't speak with you, man. Definitely. It's sorry to jump in, but
But
oh my God.
yeah, it is difficult to accurately translate one to another. You can only take the feelings, the notions. That's
Mm,
why video game films need to lean more into the characters that we love. Don't try and replicate the experience of playing a game. You can't.
that is it. That you said it, and I think that's it. That's what I think also helped. Well, made the Mario movie work. The new one,
The
because
new
they
one, the
yeah,
new one. Yeah.
because they just went in on the characters and of course the Easter eggs, and they let people have these oh yeah moments. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I recognize that. That's what you gotta do. I think what you gotta do is just play with the one thing that translates directly is the image, the characters, because you can see them. It, but
Yeah.
and one thing that Nintendo's been doing, excuse me, is well, of course Mario is a mascot for goodness sake, and one thing Nintendo's done is it kind of primed people for the movie in the way the characters had been developing over the years, looking more and more so that when you make the movie, you just now, that being said, it's not like the Mario of course looks different. The genes on Mario in the movie of course look like real genes and so on. Well, I should say also
Well, he's wearing overalls in the game and then in other things, but they does look more like overalls now. So
oh, yeah, no, exactly. Now the game is trying to match the movie and so on, and of course to help cross promote and so on. But that all being said, it's you got to work just focus on what you can. you can use to translate. I mean, of course, Hydra with the scar, that's the one thing you got. But when it comes to when you got an actual story detail and all that stuff, that's the tricky thing. And I think it comes down to this, like the man who made Abe's Exodus. I just watched a documentary of him the other day. No, not the other day, a while ago. But and he said the reason why a lot of movies don't translate well is because the the base, the actual story itself, has not got the depth of a movie, or even let's say, yeah, let's say that no sorry, let me say that whole thing again. The reason why some games don't adapt well into movies is because they're not made with enough depth. They're just race to the end and save the princess or whatnot. Whereas when you made Abe's Exodus, he wanted to make it with enough depth that it felt like a movie. It's gritty. You know, when the Mudokons get slain, it's oh man, that's brutal, man. There's something about it.
There,
Yeah,
the whole Abe's Odyssey, Abe's Exodus, Munch's Odyssey, all of those, the whole Oddworld collective, it's
mm,
quite good. I like those games, especially like the world building within it. But I think you're right. I think you nailed on the head there. Games have incredible world building, incredible depth of character, but they didn't initially. Early
yes,
games didn't have these things. But I think it's a combination of a bunch of things. I think it's with games developing, the technology developing, allowing for deeper and more engaging games. But it's also that they're not seen as childish anymore. They are
yeah,
seen as an art form. They're seen as an actual medium of art. Like comic books and video games were seen as kiddie, childish, simple things.
yeah,
So when they historically, when they were translated to more serious, in big giant ass air quotes, more serious art forms, they weren't treated with the same reverence. The source material wasn't treated the same way. There's that great quote from the first X-Men movie
yellow
where they're all
spandex.
wearing black leather, and he goes, "Black leather? What? You were thinking yellow spandex?"
Mm,
And as a direct dig at the superhero kind of style.
yeah,
But Marvel, the MCU, Marvel producing all of its films and leaning heavily into the actual source material showed that there is a market for this. People who want to see the characters the way that they originally portrayed. Let's not forget the whole Sonic's human teeth thing.
yeah.
The
Freaking,
it's, you know the cinema, movies, Hollywood execs went, "Oh, we're going to take this character. I'm going to tell a great story." No, just give us the character we like. You paid money for this IP. Surely you must know that it's valuable. Why would you
exactly.
take it and then change it to something we
Yeah,
don't want?
and this is
Just
why
lean into what is already there. Sonic movie proved it. No,
Mario.
the success of the Mario movie was just canonized the damn thing. People want to see the characters they love in it. But I do think we're at a different point in our in society. You know, in the
Good point.
'90s, it was
Yeah.
a more optimistic time. People could take things and make it their own. There was a sense of ownership over it. There was less a sense of ownership over it, should I say? The fans were happy to have anything. But now we can get everything. Now that the media is so much more decentralized, it's not just
Yes.
Hollywood anymore. It is other countries. We
Amen to
can
that. Yeah.
get other countries' games and movies and products. People can make them at home. You know, you've seen the
Yeah, for sure.
rise and fall of fantastic small indie stars who went from prominence because of their own work.
For sure.
If those of you who are interested in Monty if you recognize that name, wait, never forget. You never forget. But the man was just working out of his bedroom initially, doing his own programming, and but he got picked up by Rooster Teeth. He worked on the Ruby series, he worked on Red versus Blue, and he made some of those fight sequences pure gold. I mean, those are better than the top, John Wick. And it's true. If you just
Mm.
watch some of the fight sequences, just the stunning choreography of what they can do, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But yeah, now it's harder for big companies to take IP and make it their own, like put their own stamp on it because
Mm.
they want to keep the audience. The audience is already there for a specific style of IP, so they're going to lean into doing that. They want
That
to
is it.
keep the audience
Amen and
because there's
amen.
so much more entertainment. We live in an age of distraction. there are so much available to us to do
Yeah.
between games, books, TV, everything, everywhere, all the time, 24 hours. It's harder and harder to keep people's attention. So I think we've had a bit of a growing pains. We've had some ups and downs, but we are at a precipice. I think. Maybe it's just me, but I can smell a change in the air. I
Dude,
think that
preach, preach.
superheroes, yeah, superheroes have kind of had their day. You know, they came into prominence, and the MCU, you know, Endgame, that movie, over $1 billion. You know, that's cemented as one of the greatest cinematic moments of history.
Yeah.
20, decades of work in the making, many, many movies, so much working together to tell one story just right. No one denies it. Even people who aren't fans of superheroes deny the impact of that movie. But superheroes are a fantasy. The concept of a superhero is something of a childish fantasy. Many academics, many psychologists have talked on this at great length.
Mm,
But the premise is simple. It's the childish notion that an authority figure will appear
mm.
and solve your problem. You know, we trust in Captain America because Captain America is a good man and he has more power than most, and we empower him further to solve our problems by punching it. It's a childish way of looking at the world, of
Yeah.
solving an issue. They appear, they hit someone really, really hard, that person falls down, and then they leave because they've done their duty. They've done the right thing. And yeah, when you're a kid, having someone swoop in and make it better, that makes sense. You have parents, you have guardians.
Yes.
But it also frames the world in a very, very narrow context.
Yeah.
And when the world is strong, when the world's doing well,
Mm,
people want complex stories. People want difficult notions. They want things that challenge them.
mm.
But when the world isn't doing well, when especially individuals, when they are not in a good place, they want simplified entertainment. They want, you know, stuff that
Ah,
calms them.
yeah, yeah. I
There's a
see.
great quote by someone. Oh, damn it, who said it? Who was arguing about the kind of games that people play at different points. When you're good, you want, the sprawling epic. You want the difficult, challenging. You want your Spec Ops. You want your Last of Us. But if
Preach.
you're in the trenches,
Mm.
you want an Animal Crossing. You just want to
Yes.
farm you just want to farm your Starville Valley. You want simple, easy, digestible, reassuring games. And we can see that kind of mentality played out by large across the world. The world is at a point of massive upheaval because of societal change, of
Yes.
environmental change. I think even the naysayers of
Mm.
climate change have accepted that, yeah, that you can't deny it, that summers are hotter, winters are colder, storms are more prevalent, and they're a lot fiercer. So everyone who was like, no, 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 it's not changing, it's not changing, it's like, oh crap, it's changing.
This is
And
that's important.
between that and the rise of authoritarians, you can kind of see the childish need for a strong figure to step up
Mm.
and make things better. The
Yeah,
idea, where a child might once have looked at Batman and Captain America,
right.
Spider-Man, Superman to solve their problems, that same inclination to want a strong man to
Mm.
save you,
Save us.
yeah, as an adult,
This
that
is
don't work.
this is a very deep talk, and this is wow, dude. This is awesome. Preach, preach. I say. Yeah.
It's just an argument that has been made and espoused on both positively and negatively. People have challenged it. People have agreed with it.
Mm.
I think it's something worth thinking about because while I love superheroes, I do. I have always. I remember my first comic book was a Green Lantern. Not a huge Green Lantern fan, but I remember that book. It's burned into my memory, and it was nice. I loved reading my superheroes. The Spider-Man as a relatable figure, the Avengers as a first responding unit. each character filling their archetype. The explorers of Fantastic Four, the civil rights protesters in the mutants and X-Men. These characters helped us, and just like religious figures
Mm-hmm.
or Aesop's fables, we
Right.
learn parables, we learn lessons from them. Batman teaches us that a man, a woman, a person can overcome pain and use that pain to help others. Hell, the Batman concept was used to great effect to improve the characterization of Doctor Who.
Ah, yes.
Doctor Who, when the Doctor Who reboot came back, those of you who are fans by Russell T Davies, they killed off all the Time Lords. In the earlier series, the Time Lords were a prevailing authority figure that the Doctor kept butting heads with because he was like, no, I want to be a free thinker. I want to do the right thing. And they were an authority that was like, no, you have to work. You have to do this. But when they did the reboot, he'd killed them all. He'd wiped them out because they went whole hog fascist authoritarian. But they built into his character that he was the last of his kind. He had made himself the best he could be, and he'd gone through all that pain, and he used that pain to fuel protecting other people. The
Mm,
Batman ethos.
fantastic, fantastic. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Superman is a story of an immigrant coming to this world and deciding to live as a person, choosing a god who can fly, throw lightning, break mountains, who decides to be a human.
Yes, the
Yeah,
dude.
you could
Yeah.
just because living as a human, paying his bills, going to get coffee, arguing with his girlfriend about the placement of the sofa in the living room. All these things meant more to him than being a freaking god. Spider-Man is a man who is crippled by survivor's guilt. Everything he does is suffered by guilt. All of his great loved figures have died, and he blames himself because the first one, the one that started it all off, was his fault. It was his fault.
Yeah, the uncle.
Now, you can argue, of course, it's not his fault. How could he have ever known the consequences of his actions? But that doesn't matter to him. He believes it's his fault. And so everyone who dies because Spider Man either did something or didn't do something is his fault. This man is crippled. He is constantly in PTSD, crippled by survivor's guilt. He throws himself into dangerous situations, wildly unprepared. It's almost like he has a death wish. But I can relate. When I fucked up, the need to do better, the need to take responsibility,
Mm,
I get it. I get it. All these characters can relate to us because they embody different superheroes are just like heightened examples of human nature.
mm.
But the idea that a superhero will swoop in and save your life, that's the dreams of a child.
This is interesting, dude. I love this. Wow, this sermon that you delivered.
Yeah, this is something I am really, really passionate about. I could talk for great length. I could give you lots of examples, both for and against the argument. But I think that it's something that needs to be discussed. It should. You don't, even if you don't agree with me, those of you out there listening to me and you think I'm talking shit, you know what? Maybe I am. Maybe this my position's wrong. But I think it's important that a good fan is critical, can be critical of their own passions. Whatever you love, you got to see the good and the bad. You got to see all of it. You
Yes, I
got to
do.
know the thing you love, and it does mean It does mean being critical. It does looking unflinching. Take off the rose-colored glasses and really look at what you do. I love comics, graphic novels. I think it's just my preferred medium for telling a story. It's not only visually engaging, it's narratively engaging.
Mm.
You can have a graphic novel that looks like garbage, but the story's so good you can't stop, put it down. You can have a story that's garbage, but the artwork is beautiful. And then you get some books that the art just only enhances the great story and it's transcendent.
You said, my God, dude, yeah, for sure. You covered on some interesting topics before I press play. Let me see if I can give my 2 cents. In fact, one interesting uh, saying that's going around, doing the rounds these days, and certain, um, amongst certain people is strong times create. No, it's not strong times. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. Hard times create strong men.
Strongman.
And then,
Yeah.
so right now, a bit like what I've heard said about the music industry as well. The with what society is looking for at the moment. I mean, when people have good times, they still want to be in touch with the values that hard times teach us. So we
It's
create
easy
these
to
videos
espouse
for
values when you're rich.
right. So and this is the thing when you exactly when you certainly when you have good times, and therefore when you have um, now when you're actually in hard times, people want to you're gonna need to be that your own hero in that case. But when things times are good, it seems like it's like Dragon Ball. When there's a moment of peace going around, people slack off on their training. So we turn to our fables and our stories to remind ourselves of what history has taught us about what values we need to survive, just in case things happen again. And lo and behold, we have to rise up ourselves to meet the challenge physically in some cases. But hopefully not. Hey, the world turns out the way it does. Yeah. Speaking of Dragon Ball, like with the late Marvel creator uh, Stan Lee, and now the late creator of Dragon Ball,
Oh
Akira
man.
Toriyama. Yeah, we've had
Can we just have a moment?
mm,
That man has done more. It's funny you put Stan and Akira Toriyama in the same sentence because I don't think those two men have affected popular culture in ways that few ever have and ever will. The popular culture has been shaped by their actions, maybe not intentionally, but we would not be the men we are today
no,
without them.
for sure.
So,
I'm gonna do a tribute proper one later on when I have a moment, but for sure, dude.
yeah.
Yeah, well, in fact, I was really loved and touched by seeing the outpouring of compassion from so many content creators out there. And it's like, wow, man,
Mm.
I feel
I
it.
felt
It's
the
like,
same way
wow,
when Kevin Conroy died.
yeah. It's like we touched on this briefly, and then we didn't, and then the time went by, and the week went by, and we said, wow, and then I saw the tribute piece, and I was like, man, just to look back at it, it's like, yo, man. Of course, my mother's a huge Dragon Ball fan, and she's seen every episode, not just Dragon Ball all the way to the end, like 3 times, 4 times, just gone over and over. And yeah, man, it's just something about people like that. What will happen when Shigeru Miyamoto? Yeah, well, I don't. It's not speak things into existence, but you know, right now this is why we have to. Yeah, I think this the sermon you gave is very necessary right now because it's a bit like when one's parent passes. One has to think about what now, and
Yeah, it
yeah,
forces you
man
to
up,
be contextualized, to really look hard and know that
yeah,
things change. Things change, but people you love won't always be around forever. The joy they bring you
mm,
will always be with you, but they won't be.
yeah. I mean,
There was
this
a
what
great story. Sorry.
I was gonna say the good thing about Dragon Ball, what I think I find comfort in, dude, I really get very emotional about Dragon Ball all the time because my family, even my bro, and
Mm.
yeah, all over that show, just emotional. But the good thing is, it reminds me of when Goku had to, if you pardon me a moment to go on this tangent, when Goku gave himself for the when Cell was going to implode, well, explode, I should say, gave himself up to take the blast and save people.
Yeah,
Only for Cell to come back, by the way, which is the most outrageous thing. But then Gohan had to just say, "All right, it's time for me to man up." This is a perfect encapsulation of what we're talking about right now. The person goes, and you still have to face the issue that you thought that they took care of. No, 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 no. You have to take care of it. But, oh my God!
yeah.
And
You
then when
can't have the older generation keep
bailing
swooping in
out,
and making it better.
exactly what
You
Dragon Ball
have to
represent.
stand up.
As Shenlong said, the whole point of Dragon Ball is not to have this dragon take care of your issues for you, but you have to deal with your own issues. And then come when Gohan and everybody had a chance to wish Goku back, Goku said, "No, no, how it's meant to go, and it's time for you to continue." Now, of course, as beauty would have it, Goku would come back again, but the whole point of it is,
A necessity.
yeah,
Abu was an anomaly.
Yeah.
a terrible threat, and so you throw every weapon you have available to him. But he was right. It was his time, and I think that it makes good point. I
Mm.
don't know if it was the end of Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball GT when they really highlighted that we can't use the dragons anymore.
GT.
GT, yeah, because the final arc was that the Dragon Balls were corrupted by so overuse
Yeah.
and created evil dragons that embodied all the wishes that were being used on them.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty good end to the series. I mean, GT again was made without Toriyama's engagement, so it was kind of hit and miss. But that ending, I think,
The
really
ending was really
resonated
strong.
with me.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, we can't keep using these things
Mm.
to solve our issues.
Yes, it's exactly it. I'll tell you what,
Um,
GT is a rehashing of Dragon Ball all the way. From the from
Super
what's the other thing?
17. They just brought back 17 again.
But I mean, I think he overlooked a few things, Toriyama, but he of course he's not hands on. But that being said, the last thing I'll say about Mr. Akira Toriyama for now, I'm definitely going to go in on this story. Is the good thing is that the story is very much about Otherworld. That's why I can. That's like Gohan had to. When everyone else is sad, he said, "You don't have to cry. Just um, understand that he's truly in a better place." This is his whole work was about Otherworld. The idea that even if you don't believe or anything, the idea that this experience is not necessarily all there is. At the very least, you live on through your family or who builds you impact and so on. Or love itself is the whole point of love is not to get things from people. In my experience, it's about what you give. If it makes you happy to give so that people can keep living on, that is a complete cycle. And you don't know it until you feel it in yourself. Like Popo said, you can't notice someone else's life force until you notice your own. When you find love, then all I'm saying should make sense. But until then, the world seems like, why? But I know what it feels like to weep. Of course, I feel that way even now. But I always remember that at the end of the day, this whole design that this world that we're in, whoever illustrated it, whether it be Kira or Mr. The people from the DC Comics or whoever, um, this whole design of the world that we live in is just as is design. That is to say, love is one thing that no matter what shape it takes, no matter what person it represents, it truly lives on. When you get in touch with it, you're not afraid of death. That's what keeps me going. I find, but I don't know.
I like that. I like that. I agree that all modern society was designed. Someone decided it to be this way.
Mhm.
Nothing grew naturally. Concrete don't form on its own. Buildings don't rise without someone putting them up. Everything is the way it is, and we can choose it. We can have agency over that because the world is the way we've made it. We can choose how we want it to be. We can make it good. We can make it bad. We can only think of ourselves, or we can think about the next generation. When I was going through a tough time when I was a kid, I remember a Zen parable story, and a man goes to a priest and he says, "I want you to write me a scroll for my wall, something auspicious, something universal that we can all accept, truly beautiful sentiment." And the priest says, "What do you like? Like what?" Man says, "Well, I'll leave it to you. Something auspicious." So the priest thinks on it for a few days. Man comes back 3 days later, and the priest has written on a scroll on the wall: "Grandfather dies, father dies, son dies." The man is outraged. "What the hell are you doing? Why do you want my family to die?" He says, "Well, look at the order. The grandfather dies first, then then the father, then the son. Everything is in its place. Everything is the way it should be. What is more painful than a parent burying their child? We all die.
Mm.
Everything changes, but everything has a time and has a place." And I like that. I like that these great men, they were young and stupid and full of beans and made mistakes. But they did what they did out of passion and love. And they their work affected us. It grew and spread and we loved it. but then their passing is painful. Remembering everything they did, all the joy they brought to us hurts, but the important thing is to pass it on.
Yeah.
Is to take those stories that made us better people,
Mm.
these stories that inspired us, these stories that educate us, these stories that made us want to get up and do something, and we show it to the next generation. And then when we go, they are equipped to face the issues. They don't look to these superheroes to solve their issues. They look to be these superheroes to solve the issues. And hopefully they will do the same for the next generation. And so each generation gets a little better, a little stronger, a little smarter. We're not going to be here forever, but we can have an impact. Today is just a day, one of every day in all your life. But the things you do today may very well affect all the days that come next. Yeah. So what you do today matters. Because tomorrow will be decided by what you do today. And next week by this week, and so on and so forth. We can be better, but I see too many people looking for a hero, and I don't see enough people trying to be the hero. Because being a hero requires sacrifice, requires work, requires training, requires knowledge. It's not fun being the hero. The hero is the one who has to take the weight, has to make the hard choices, has to be the one that makes the right call, and the right call is rarely the easy option.
That's it, dude. I guess we jump these trailers. This is awesome.
Yes, let's jump on. Let's watch the 1943 trailer. I'm excited about this game. I want to watch the trailer more.
Here we go, people. 3, 2, 1. Oh, tell me if this is. I've gotten the sound levels right.
Yeah, we good.
Okay.
They're combing the streets.
Kind of hungry now. Sorry. Some reason.
If they arrest you too, they will take you to their headquarters, and you will not return.
I'm more concerned with the 6-foot cat man who's got claws that can cut through vibranium
Wow.
alloy.
It's a game.
It's a game.
Shit. We've come a long way. Looks like a bloody movie. Alright, what the actors are going to do now? Good lord. That's nuts. No way. This is not in-game footage, is it? I mean, like.
This is a cinematic.
I was gonna say, but I'm sure one day, in which case it'll be like,
one day
it'll get movies.
Before the sun rises, before the Germans, before that American.
Jesus, this is make me. I saw this. Sorry, I'll talk after. But oh my god, what is going on with the graphics? It's nuts. I'm freaking out right now. Sorry, kind of. I don't know, maybe some players would.
When am I not?
Maybe some players would identify with this lady, but. I think it looked a bit weak though, but still.
You may encounter some obstacles.
That won't be a problem.
Captain America's dangerous, man.
Yeah, he's a soldier, man. He's a killer.
Forget this.
Who the hell are you?
If you
I'm
want
looking
us dead,
forward.
we'd be dead. So what do you want?
Oh my. Man, I wish I had my nephews and nieces to play this with. I'll blow their heads off.
I do not take orders from anyone.
I don't have time for this.
Neither do I.
Grief.
Get in!
That's nuts. That is. I'm kind of freaked out right now. I'm containing myself, people. I'm kind of getting goosebumps already. But the fact from the beginning, I'm talking about. All right, what platforms is it on? Let us know. Come on, give us a. Is that all? Getting coming soon? Come on.
Yeah, it's
coming
next
soon.
year. It's a while off.
Oh,
but
you're right. Of course, if you think about it, we don't know what platforms are going to be out next year anyway. For goodness sake, Nintendo's AI machine out now. In fact, let me end it here so we can have a screenshot. All right, people. So, okay.
So if this is a third-person action adventure game where you get to play as the characters going through, set pieces, you find that you go into a room, you take out a few enemies, you find some clues, you go to the next place, you take out some enemies, you find some things. Yes, all of that. Shut up and take my money. If it's a 4-person, live service, oh, I'm gonna feel pain, real pain. I mean, for God's sake, Suicide Squad alone, just we get it. No more freaking live services. But
Yeah.
if it's I don't think it's gonna be a shooter.
Mm.
But Captain America and Black Panther aren't gun wielders generally. They
Mm.
can, but that's not what they're known for.
Yeah.
So it's unlikely. But will it be more like the Saboteur, where you have to uncover, take over territories, claim them,
Ah,
and then you rally forces? The story looks great, but what kind of game? I just don't know.
I think
And
it's
I
also
don't want
come
to
down to the
start digging.
yeah.
I want.
It's true. Right now, we hope for the best for sure. But one thing I think it's going to be down to is the villains. I mean, I don't. I got a feeling they're hiding something from this game, and there may be some sort of villain out there. This what makes a good superhero movie is a good villain, of course. So naturally, if there's some sort of unless they have to just go ahead and fight each other all the time, and that's the end of it.
No. It's called Rise of Hydra. Hydra are ultimately they're the villains. It's
Mm.
the super secret version of the SS within the Nazi regime. It's set during World War II. The Nazis are everywhere. They did take Paris. That's a historical truth.
Time traveling
But
Nazis. Yeah, I
yeah,
know.
but the Hydra are supposed to be like a splinter cell of the SS, the super secret SSS,
Mm.
I guess. But the big villain's probably going to be Red Skull. It's going to be the
Ah.
leader of the creator of
Oh
Hydra.
yes. That guy with the no nose and all that stuff.
That's the one. Yeah. But how they go about that, I don't know. Maybe I like the idea that the military forces are butting heads with the guerrilla, Wakandan troops.
Mm.
Maybe the Dora Milaje in there, the Sanguajes. But I just don't know. I'm just curious about what style of game more than anything.
Yeah.
Because this is a great story. This could be a really great story. It looks good. Just gotta calm down.
Dude, I think they're holding back, and I think they're waiting for some feedback to say. Of course,
Yeah, they said they're going to announce it next year, so it's probably going to be a PlayStation 5 Pro or a
or
Xbox.
AI
It's
Switch.
going to be
He's saying AI Switch, but
anything coming out on the Switch. It says it's coming out on the Switch.
who knows? What if this Switch has got some sort of AI genius brain that it can make graphics look better just in a moment's notice or something?
It's just raw power. It's just the simple fact that the thing hasn't got enough steam in its engine.
But
Eh,
but
I know the
but.
engine wants to. It's a little engine that could, and it's been playing. It's been punching above its weight class for a while now. But the Switch has been out for a number of years,
Yeah.
and we've kind of wrung out the best we can get. Hell, even from the get-go, Mario Odyssey was year one, and that looked fantastic. It looks
Yeah.
great. But if you play that game, there is tracing and lines
Yeah, of course.
everywhere.
It always, dude. I think, but okay, maybe not. Okay, not the Switch, but the next Nintendo console, if it's an AI machine, you know.
I think it's not going to be an AI machine. It's just going to be implement parts of the AI. But I think that the next one is going to be the equivalent of a place. Supposedly, it's going to be the equivalent of like a souped-up PS3, maybe a low
I
PS4.
think it's a genius of Nintendo, man. In my opinion,
They're already behind they're never going to beat their competitors in technology. They just don't.
right.
Sony and Microsoft have got too much power, so much resources behind their R&D. They're the ones who push the limit on what the technology can do. But Nintendo have historically always put the gameplay first. I've tried to craft great gameplay experiences. That's why we got the Wii, the Wii U, the Nintendo VR. They've always tried to create ways to play. The game was the goal. The
Yep.
technology was the means by which you play, instead
That's
of
it.
the tech being the priority to show off what they can do.
Which is what I prefer about Nintendo. Again, I just say that they're geniuses. Like when you see somebody doing something that looks crazy, like, why are you doing it? Like, think of mine, because your mind back to when the Wii U was on its way out, and they're going to bring a new console out, and everyone's like, "Oh, Nintendo, just hang it up and just shut up." He was saying, "Shut up, you don't know what you're talking about." And Nintendo, of course, come again. Even before when the Wii came out, people think Nintendo we're up against it, but they have a genius understanding of their how to capitalize on their IPs and how to make the game experience the thing that is worth it. And yeah, therefore, no matter what the next machine is going to be, I I think that because now now they've done the Switch. Here's the thing. I used to feel this way about Mr. West, Kanye West. Never mind his antics. But when back in the day, when you'd make albums like The College Dropout and Late Registration, I was very interested in how he would surprise me every time with what he would do. I thought, okay, now he's gonna go in this direction, he's gonna go that direction, but he'd always bring out something that I didn't expect. And Nintendo's similar like that. Again, that's all to what Mr. West for now. But anyway, but when it comes to the next machine, it's probably gonna be something that I didn't expect what they bring up. But I'm thinking, as far as where to go next, I'm thinking they're gonna have to either spin AI into something, but not in the way that Sony or Microsoft would do it. Not in the name of, hey, look at us, look at how fancy we can be, but look at this clever. Japan's always big on their robotics, and I got a feeling. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be, but the Switch is the Wii U done right. Think about it. And but where to go next? Because now Nintendo have gone and they relinquished their portable gaming by making a Switch and said, hey, let's do some apps on the iPhone and just do and
They
make
did keep the company afloat for a long time. Their portable gaming, the Game Boys, the DSs, the 3DSs, that supported them during rough times. I mean, hell, the Nintendo Game Boys, the Game Boy Advance, I think, is the second most bought property. The number one is the PlayStation 2. That's the most purchased console of all time. That just
yeah
number one.
yeah.
Switch is aiming for that spot. They're pushing it as long as they can to try and sell more units.
Sorry, dude.
But
Stupid computer.
trying to sell more units. But but I think number two is a Game Boy is one of the handhelds. It's just that popular.
They realized they said let's put this into the whole
But
console.
if we're going to go, it's one of two ways. If you're going to go hardware, I think that they're going to lean into ARGs. They're going to lean into what the Apple goals did by being able to see the world, but just color it, just put layer technology onto it. They were experimenting that with the 3DS, with gaming that way. And even if you have a Switch, look at the underside of one of the Joy-Cons. There's a laser sensor there. That could have been, arguably, there's rumors going around that, some of the patents that Nintendo were making when they were releasing the Switch was that they were going to add camera to it and have the thing use as like an ARG machine. Think Pokemon Go. Use a GPS signal and then use the thing out and about. Catch Pokemon by finding it using your Switch.
Yeah,
sounds amazing. But I don't think that the hardware is going to get much better. I think they found a perfect secret sauce. They've got a great recipe. They're going to want to keep this for a while. They haven't. I will struggle to imagine some great new tech. They've got a winner here. But I do think that we're overlooking the other side of that, the software. Make machines smarter, and hell, you mentioned AI a couple of times. This is true. But companies are starting to integrate a little bit of AI into frame rate drops, into rollback netcode, into
graphics.
ways of just making it smoother and smarter. With rollback netcode, when you're doing online gaming, you're basically using a small, simple AI bot to fill in the gaps. It gets pieces of data, and then it just fills in those gaps, like adding screens and frames to make it look smoother. The machine is not creating those frames. The AI bot is making extra frames based on what those earlier frames were to fill in the gaps, to push from 30 frames to 60 frames. I think little things like this are going to start becoming more prevalent. We're going to see little AI bots scurrying around in the background. But instead of them being giant monoliths taking over and being massive apps or parts of the game, we're going to see them just patching holes and fixing things in the background just to make the experience a little smoother.
Yeah, dude, that's it. And Now that being said, sorry, my words got jumbled. When you mentioned about the AR experience and so on, I think I agree. It's just after well, of course, the Virtual Boy and the 3DS, I think Nintendo thinking, you know what? I don't know. I mean, Labo, I like the Labo and the putting the thing in your face to have a look around in the like a makeshift VR headset, which I think is very clever. It's just, man, I don't even think that the
It's not
headsets are
there
going to take
yet.
off. I don't even think I don't care who Microsoft, or Sony, or whoever the hell tries to do. I know that Apple's trying to say that their headset things are taking off, but I don't think so. Like I think it's going to crash like the Stadia. The reason why is because there's something. This is what I love about the games world. It's not just a case of can the technology work. It's not like I was in college. I remember reading this book. You're not just developing software to complete a task. You know, with user experience design, a lot of apps are feeling like game development these days. When people have competition, I want a calculator, but this calculator is better. But hey, does it calculate? If it just does, that's one thing. But when it comes to games, it's even more refined. You're talking about something that people have a nuanced preference for. No matter if I don't care if the game is a better game, or if the technology is better, sorry, but it's does every aspect work together to give the audience what they want? It's a
Well,
human desire thing.
yeah, you mentioned it about the portable gaming market, the gold gaming experience. My first console was a portable. I will always have a special place in my heart. I love portable gaming. Hell, my current gaming devices are both portable. I'm using a Steam Deck and a Switch, and then occasionally I pull out my
Game, but yeah.
Mini Pro. I live just a little emulation device, all of which are portable because I
Mm,
can pick them up. I can take them with me and play them where I want to.
mm,
I wire them up. They all have racks and decks and things I plug into the TV.
mm,
But I like that style of game. I like the opportunity to do it. But if I want to play a heavy duty game, I'm not looking at a Switch. I'm looking at a PlayStation 5. I'm
yeah,
looking at an Xbox. These
yeah, that's
things
true.
can handle the tougher, the bigger games.
True.
But I do think that no one has really cornered the market on AR yet. The big
Mm,
companies have got home console, PlayStation's and Microsoft's Xbox. Those things are powerful units, and PCs, yeah, they're becoming more like PCs.
mm,
Just like they're almost on that level. But handheld PCs have come a long way in the past couple of years. Steam Deck opened the floodgates. There's been a
mm,
number of really impressive handheld PCs,
mm.
which is now encroaching in the market that would be the Nintendos. People are able to play devices not only plays current gen PC gearable games, but also all the freaking emulation. Not that I'm
Yeah, exactly.
recommending it.
Again, this which makes people like, what took you so long? No, the Switch is
Yeah,
just
yeah,
dominating all this
because
time. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
and the Switch is not, and the Switch is just not bringing back the level, the amount of games.
this
The
is why
libraries are huge, but they're not bringing
I
them
think
out.
this is why I think they're
So
gonna have to have a new angle going forward, which is why I
I
think
think,
AI, like
yeah,
you
I
said,
think if
the patching of work, the
Yeah,
patchwork AI.
the Switch is the perfect marrying of convenience to classic games, to
Mm,
great games, not most powerful, but great games, but convenience. It's easy. I could buy the game, I could play it at home on the big TV, then I could take it in my bag and I could play it at work, could play it on
mm,
the bus. It's good. And convenience is the bane of piracy. People pirate when things aren't convenient. It's like if you put all your films into one streaming service, hell yeah, I'm going to sign up to that streaming
yeah,
service.
exactly.
It's in one place.
This is it.
But
This is it. This
when you
is it.
start fragmenting your libraries, when you start making it difficult, building barriers and hurdles to getting our entertainment, yeah, people are going to start pirating. People are going to turn to other sources.
This is the
So
root of
if
failure for.
Nintendo can make their next handheld an AR machine, they will not only have the handheld market, but handheld and AR just, that is, peanut butter and
Jelly. Americans
gonna
say,
say
yeah,
jelly. The Americans
yeah,
jelly jam, whatever you want to call it. But it's PB and J, baby.
yeah,
It is peanut butter and
yeah,
chocolate. It is
yeah.
the
I feel like a
idea
sandwich
of
right now.
playing a Mario Odyssey level game out and about and having it interact with the real world.
Yeah.
But no company's got the right. I don't think that any company's got the right tech for it. I mean, the Apple goggles look a little intrusive. Most of the VR units, they look great, but they're
Mm.
expensive and cumbersome, and you need a big space to play it. My living room ain't big enough for it.
in my opinion, dude, this is what I think. I think when it comes to the AR, the VR and stuff, the issue is the problem. People, I think the main concern people have is feeling isolated while playing the games. And when you're stuck in your own head,
Mm.
not to mention the idea of having a computer wired to your eyeballs, is still something that some people don't, not some people just say, you know what, I don't want my kid playing that at the very least. Now, of course,
My
for
mum did
adults,
warn me not to sit so close to the TV. It can't be
yeah,
healthy to strap them to my face.
yeah. So I'm like, what are you thinking? Now I'm really getting. I mean, did they have a blue glasses lens filter, or the hell with that? And say goodbye to and say hello to LASIK. I don't know. But that means that I think if in my opinion, VR will work if you put it in an IMAX experience or something like that. If you go to IMAX and it's at least the room is big enough so that you don't feel like it's jammed into your eyeballs, you can at least experience it that way. Or let's say we bring back arcades, but make the arcade a big room experience where you can have a VR experience with out in the open. That's when I think it'll work. I always had the fantasy of like, imagine you go to watch these Pokemon tournaments, but people are using AR to augment the experience. Everybody watching like in
Mm.
an actual stadium. That would work because it's a social experience. People love the Wii because it's social, and yeah, I mean, and even when it comes to the Switch, the idea of being able to take it out of this little nerdy little locked away
Yeah.
secret code pastime to isolate you further. People don't even like being called as nerds sometimes playing games. They love to be seen. I mean, they love gaming to be seen as a cool thing. They love to bond. When you have a thing strapped to your eyeballs,
To engage,
poking you
you want to
away,
engage with it.
yeah,
I do have fond memories as a kid going to the arcade and watching other
that
people play.
that's what I'm talking about.
That just like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Oh, that's a great strategy. Oh yeah, I'll do that on my turn.
Yeah.
You put your coin down, you get in the queue, but then you watch other people play to see, you know, pitfalls,
Mm,
problems. I think you can see this reflected in the changing of entertainment with
mm,
Twitch and with other channels having streaming gaming. I when it came out, people were like, "Oh yeah, we're watching people play games." Why would you watch? Why don't you play the game yourself? It seemed absurd to me at first,
mm.
but the I kind of got into it myself.
Yes.
Watching some of these people play games, it does
Yes.
feel more like a communal experience, especially if I'm on watching the stream with a bunch of other people and we're all chiming in. There is a sense of community there, like we're all getting it done.
Mm,
And yeah, if we could find a way to create, I don't know, small pocket spaces with you use VR or ARG technology and then have a few people working together on a single game. Not VR, like you've got the thing stuck to your face, but it's see-through, so it's ARG'd.
mm.
That could be a really fun thing. Like you could just play scenarios, settings. You could plug in a fantasy level, and then you work through a section of the dungeon, and then you pay for 30 minutes or pay for an hour, and then at the end of it, you save your point, and then come back next week, come back another day. Everyone gets in, boom, plug in the next point, continue the level,
Is it?
or just play it again, or just do the same scenario again,
Sorry.
but with new people. Try different strategies, see what works. This is it's basically a digital primordial soup, a melting pot of ideas you can mix together to see what works.
Mm,
If you build the basic infrastructure, that's going to be pricey. The basic hardware is going to be a bit of a sink, but you could mine that for concepts of good gameplay experiences. Just let the gamers plug and play what they want to do, and
mm.
whatever works, boom. Hell, Warcraft 3's, but level designer gave us Dota. So letting the gamers kind of tailor the experience and come up with the weird and wacky stuff and see what works, you might be able to get some real diamonds out of that.
I think so, and you know what I think what you mentioned there with the audience being involved, the audience being involved. Yeah, I'm getting more. Well, yeah, getting more involved, I suppose, in the whole process. So, uh, oh, what am I saying? I kind of jumped ahead to another point. Let me go start my first point. I think Nintendo may have a secret ace in their sleeve that people
Shoot.
may not have thought about, and I just thought of it right now. Again, this could be the revival of Sega's King of Arcades, but let me just say it right now. Any of you listening out there, you know that Nintendo had a blockbuster with Mario, and of course, not to mention Sonic. And again, I hope the next one's cool too. But anyway,
Ooh, I'm excited for
yeah,
Yoshi.
yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go, dude. I think you never know. What if everybody's focused on how good their home consoles are? Nintendo pull a surprise Dark Horse out, and they say, "Yo, we're bringing out AR, but we're also bringing the arcades back. We have the cinema. Imagine you have the IMAX experience, like I was saying, with Mario movies, but it also they bring back arcades through AR experiences that kind of bring in their movie audience that they've just cultivated now, and they bring them into their arcade experience, and they set up arcades, and the arcades are like AR stadiums, if you will, and people are able to play there, and they have with the IPs, everybody's going to reflect to that. Whereas when you got these home console heavy duty things, they're going to feel clunky as a result. So, what do you think if Nintendo turned the cinema audience and Sega too with Sonic that they've cultivated into reviving the arcade? What do you think?
Pros and cons. I think pro for your theory. It is true that there was a big hubbub before in the Mario movie that Nintendo purchased a movie theater, a movie studio that worked alongside Illumination to make the first Mario thing. But their
Oh,
studio, people were like, "Oh, the Nintendo's getting into making movies." No, the studio
oh,
itself was involved with things like ARG, with things like holographs. So people were worried, thinking maybe we're going to see Nintendo start bringing holographic technology, holographic ARs, ARGs to concerts, to venues. Imagine going to Mario Land in Universal Studios, putting on a headset and seeing Mario running across the background,
yeah,
and being able to engage with Mario as a character
yeah.
in Mario World, or going to events and being able to put on a Nintendo brand ARG device and engaging with it,
I wish
because
Professor
they're
Suzuki
going
was
to
here, man.
push in the way to blurring the lines between games and reality, which is kind of the point of ARG.
Yeah.
The problem I see with that is the downright costs. You've got to think that just infrastructure alone is going to be enormous. Having these, as you say, these kind of open arcades where a bunch of people can play sounds great, but how many people are you going to get to play each turn? How fast are you going to get them in? You've got to be, the turnover rate will have to be enormous
Yeah.
to cover the costs. Nintendo's a big company, arguably the biggest company in all of Japan, bigger than car makers and other companies. But it's not a Mishima Daisetsu from Tekken. It hasn't got the industry in-house to build the kind of tech. It has to outsource it to other companies.
Yeah.
And if there's problems, that costs them in the long run. Developing a death for Microsoft, drifting with Joy-Cons. So yeah, I like the idea, but I think that if you were going to make something like that work, you're going to have to build it on existing structure. You're going to have to go to existing arcades. Now, having booths at an arcade, that you have the AR system, so how you go to a classic arcade and you've got the booths you sit in, like a Jurassic Park game. You get inside the car and the car drives along,
Right.
or you get inside the little booth where you play another game. I think ARG booths might be the kind of a nice happy medium for that. It'll give you
At least it's outdoors.
a physical object you can place in an arcade or at a venue that people could get in, clunk on the headset and play. Then they take it off and they get out, and the next person comes in and puts in
so
some money.
it's not intensive, and of course and a good
it's not the room, it's a physical object, a physical
I'm thinking,
booth.
dude? I'm thinking right now. You get me going. Even though we're supposed to be, I'm just giving on topic. But hey, people, I'm gonna retitle this video "Deep Talk, Deep Dives While Gaming." I don't know, but
Let's tie it back to Marvel. I mean, Marvel and
Sorry.
DC would pay through the nose for the ability to have a superhero simulator. Imagine playing as Spider-Man. You put on gauntlets and a headset, and then you
dude,
you get to flip
got me
your way
going.
through the city.
Dude, you got me. Listen, what now? And if that happens, I'm sure Marvel would want to do something on Nintendo.
Of course.
This thing on
If Nintendo can capture it, if Nintendo can push ahead and capture that market, they've got to be the one. Nintendo is a name synonymous with portable gaming. They're gaming, sure, but they're not the name in gaming anymore. It used to be "Oh, I'm playing a Nintendo," was just the verb used or the name used for a video game. Didn't matter who you were playing Nintendo.
Mm.
Not anymore. They are not the name anymore, but they could be the name in ARGs. But
We'll
it's
see.
going to
We'll
have to take
see.
some smart moves.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
a generation or two away.
Mm.
They've got to make some smart moves, push their tech in the right direction, and beat out their competitors.
You know, I think what won't make this work, and you talking about the money, the backing, and I know I don't mind politics for a moment, but if somebody, a billionaire like Elon, I don't know, said, you know what, out
Oh,
of a whim, I'm going to give Nintendo 2 billion or more to just make this work, and I'm sure it'd work because Nintendo, once they got the money, they got the audience, they got the IP, they don't have to worry
yeah,
about.
but it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of refinement, getting it right. It's like VR
Mm.
still is a work in progress. The early VRs made people vomit, actually
Yeah,
vomit,
yeah, yeah.
because the people didn't realize that the experience wouldn't be conducive for people with weak stomachs. So you have to create a frame around the image so your brain thinks that you are static, but you're watching something. If you have
Mm.
a fully immersive experience, a lot of people but that was an unintended consequences of the technology. This is a
Yeah.
developmental process. It's like we've in our lifetime we've watched the Game Boy brick go from that to the Switch,
Mm.
but it didn't. It wasn't a 1 to 2. It was step by step by step.
Yep, yep, yep.
We got there eventually. I think we will have this kind of tech,
Mm.
but it's going to be a slow process. It's making smart decisions each time to beat out others to get there first,
Mm.
because you've got to be the one that stamps your name on it. It's got to be the Nintendo thing. But I
Yes.
think it really is. It's that kind of personal experience. We love their IP. We love their characters. We want to play with. We want to high five Mario and go for a
Mm.
run with him.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind learning swordsmanship from Link.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
dude, that's it.
blasting Metroids with Samus. That would be awesome.
It's the thing is like yeah, I'm sure. Now again, Mr. Musk, yeah, if you hear this, go ahead and do it. But the only reason I'm
Or
saying that is
don't
that he's
listen in, Mr. Musk. Stop listening in, buddy. Just touch grass. All right, touch grass, buddy. You've been making some wild swings and a few misses. So let's just breath. You're a bright guy.
right, right,
Touch
right, right.
grass.
I'm sure that's it. Oh man, I'm excited. You got me excited. I'm sure this is it. I just feel it because it makes sense. Look about Nintendo. Like you said, they've been buying up properties and things, and they've been going into the movie industry. And I'm thinking it makes sense that that must be where they're going because the next these other consoles they're I don't like them
They've
that
kind of
much.
smoked Nintendo for technological
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
reasons.
their thing, but they're not about the games, and therefore they will never have IP pull like Nintendo's does, and they won't have that family friendly vibe that Nintendo does. So Nintendo is the company to do this with. You just
Very
need to subsidize
welcoming.
it. They need to be subsidized, and it will work. And I'm sure, but like you said, it has to be done right. Stadia, for goodness sake, with these companies, they have all the money in the world. You think that should work, but no, that's not how gaming works. This is what I love about games because it shows you that no matter how damn good you think your damn technology is, it doesn't replace our opinions. It doesn't replace what we actually like. We were talking about this at
Yeah.
length. We've been speaking
The
about AI for
best,
ages,
the best tech is worthless without anything to play it on.
and not to mention,
Anything to play
yeah, and not exactly. They say, and not to
with the
mention,
game first.
it comes down to our taste. Like I said, ask ChatGPT, how does a peanut butter and jam sandwich taste, or jelly? And it'll give you one lie because it doesn't know what anything tastes like. And if you ask all the ChatGPT is, you'll start seeing the same lie repeated because it's AI is no matter as good as it is, it's essentially one entity, whereas you have a different, distinct set of taste buds on your tongue, and everybody has their unique thing. And not only that, you can't map this into a computer because computers have cutoff points. I always keep saying, just like the computers have pixels, no matter how good sharp a graphic is, it breaks down to red, green, blue. Looking at the real Daniel or gamer Daniel. I guess we call you Daniel today. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah, folks. We've been talking for an hour and a
Yeah,
half. I didn't even realize. Yes. Hi. Sorry. I should rename myself.
gamer
There we are.
Dan. There
I'm
you go.
Gamer Dan.
Yeah, there you go. But
But
with
to
that,
be fair,
yeah,
my
you probably
my
figured out,
handle
yeah.
has Dan in it, so it's not that hard to figure out the clues.
Yep, that's it. And with that being said, yeah, we all are human. We are alive in this real world, which cannot truly be totally fathomed by technology, because
Even by us,
technology
to
is
be fair.
based on limits, and we are based on eternity. Essentially, something that you can keep going deeper and deeper into what makes us up. Eventually, you'll find something in the depths that machines have to have a cutoff point to define. The very fact that logic defines things means that it's cutting off. This is one unit and that's another. That's one pixel, that's another. But in between all of those things, in the
Yeah.
real you, there's always more. And then because of that, that nuance will always have to be determined by a person in terms of what we actually want, not the machine. So again, um, Nintendo is.
I think it's. I completely agree with you, but for slightly different reasons. I think that there will always need to be a dungeon master. There'll need to be someone guiding these processes. That's why I'm not scared of AI replacing jobs so much as AI is going to be your ally. It's going to be your new workmate. You're going to be using AI to do your job from now on, because AI is very, very good at very specific things, but it hasn't no creativity.
Yeah.
It can't see outside the box because it lives in a box.
Yes. Is it?
Yeah, it's the whole
That's
yeah.
a slogan. That's a slogan. That's a
Yeah,
slogan.
it's never going to be able to go beyond what it's programmed to do, because it's what a program is. It just does a thing. It's like asking your spanner to fix your washing machine. Well, it can do certain things with that washing machine, but it's not going to do others because that's not what it was built for.
Exactly.
But I think that we can use AI well if because it's a tool. It's a tool. It's
Yep,
fine.
sure.
But it's important to allow it to happen. It's going to happen, but it's better that we get ahead of it and we welcome it and we start making smart choices so that people's jobs don't get screwed, people's livelihoods aren't hurt. But the joy that it can bring, the creativity, the things we could do with this tech, it really does beg a belief. It's Disney Imagineer level creativity things we could do, but the tech isn't going to do it on its own.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, dude. Yeah. At the very most, a secondary composer, because it would have to base its the path it goes on, trajectory goes on what we're asking for. And if we don't ask right, we won't get it. And not to mention, sometimes we don't even know what we want. So we have to always be involved. But that being said,
That was my point. That was the point I was trying to make. I was trying to remember what I was trying to think. Yes, it's you mentioned that you need someone to be in charge of it. It's true, but tech does what it's told. And
yes.
sometimes people don't know what they like.
Like
They don't
Sonic
know
said in
what they want.
the Robotnik said in the movie, robots do what they're told. Yeah, Jim
Yeah,
Carrey says,
and
yeah.
it's true. They do what they're told because that's what they're supposed to do. But humans don't know. Sometimes don't even know what they want.
Yeah.
People want something, but they don't know why, or they don't want something, but they don't know how. Humans might not know themselves. They might not know the reasons. So humans are more complicated. It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's not better or worse. It's just different. But we can use this tech to create wonderful worlds and entertainment, and I'd like to see what could come of it. But it's like you said with the tech, if companies want to do AR, they have to get ahead of it. If we want to use AI, we have to get ahead of it. We let social media just run rampant. It came out and we thought, wow, this is fun and entertaining, and we think it's going to connect us. Just like we thought the internet was going to connect us.
It can.
No, we basically isolated us. It just gave us everyone their own little bubble. Now bubbles can cross over, but I'm not forced to go to a public forum anymore. I can just go to the people that I want to hear, and that's sad. It's a sad result, but because we didn't get out ahead and figure out how this tech would influence us or influence our lives, we kind of got boned by it. So I think getting out ahead of AI and putting in strict guardrails early, but even before we know how it's going to occur, it's good to just plan ahead.
I personally believe this whole thing has been planned ahead, but this whole thing is actually an experiment under the guise of looking like no, I think this whole thing is an experiment under the guise of free reign. But I really think it's been. I mean, it's a bit like what we have now with YouTube is a bit of a repeat of what or even with say social media platforms, a bit of what we kind of through this AI business or this tyranny, if you will. We're
gathering
winding
data at the moment.
But yeah,
gathering data. Honestly, I think
I mean,
when you say that it's a plan, it's if we're going to go down this path. Honestly, I'm a Metal Gear Solid. I'm a Metal Gear Solid fan. Love the series. Metal Gear Solid 2 was spoilers. Those of you who haven't played 2, pause this for now and skip ahead because
Brace myself.
I'm about to ruin a massive plot point of 2. And it's a great game. You should really play it. In 2, the whole point of it was that a new soldier was going through a simulated experience to create a soldier like Solid Snake. Raiden was introduced as a surrogate for Snake because he was going through a simulated experience. The entire game is a faux simulation created by an AI to train someone. An AI developed specifically to aggregate information. All the world's information goes through this AI that then aggregates what information the public are using and segregates certain private information off. Just quietly contains this information so the public never know about it. And I think that if you want to use AI maliciously, you can come back now. You can come back now.
All right, good.
If you're going to use AI maliciously, really maliciously, you can't make AI take people's jobs because it's too public.
Yeah.
You have to do it quietly. You have to implement programs and scourers in the background that just quietly remove certain things that off of people's radar.
Boiling a frog in the water slowly.
Yeah, you want to boil a frog, put it in cold water and boil it slowly. You've got to slowly but surely introduce this technology. Then you're going to have this technology help people, writing and slowly building up a profile, building up a strong background of all the information that's going out there, and then slowly aggregate that information into what's valuable, what's not valuable, what's dangerous for the public, what's dangerous for companies, what's dangerous for politicians, and then slowly add programs that highlight individuals who are saying certain things and flag them for authorities.
That's what I'm talking about.
China's doing it. China, the kind of facial recognition technology that's coming out now is being adopted by larger companies.
Bloody hell.
They can find you.
Dude, this is why I've been blocked so many times on YouTube. I don't like the CCP. Sorry, I just said it once.
We're not going to talk about China. We're not going to talk about China. But it is important to see that there are steps being taken by the desire to see the technology grow is great, but the consequences of that growth can be terrifying because the technology can be used to find and remove people information. Just because the level of control it gives is no longer in people's hands.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. It's like we're going back to the days of having 5 channels on television. Certain social media platforms are the ones that are being given a voice, and not to mention people on those channels being given and their channels and their content being given a voice, and other things being attacked. So I'm all over the place, and I like to listen to various political opinions and whatnot. So which is why I think it's really good. Even though I got my views and all that, I like to antagonize anybody. So I love to anybody any different view. I love to hear it. I hate to be in this bubble of listening only to one side, because that is Squid Games to me. It's
it's bad. We know from history, just a diet of one viewpoint, it just makes you brittle. Anytime the world changes or something new occurs, you're too brittle to adapt.
This doesn't follow my worldview. It's like, no, stop. Just open your eyes. Yeah, so exactly. I can't stand it. I must listen to various viewpoints. And that being said, finally, before we finish off with the next trailer, speaking of Mr. Elon, in case anyone's thinking about taking a Neuralink to have an AR experience, don't be a fool. That's all I can say. In my opinion, look, Mr. Elon's Tesla, right? Now it was hacked. Just I think last month by the American senator Mitch McConnell. I think his sister-in-law. She was in a Tesla. She's in a car. It just locked and drove into a lake, and she's dead. And I was like, wow, there you go. So I should put a chip in my brain now because it won't be hacked. Yeah, F you.
Again, it's the idea of the tech can do amazing things, but I will quote Matt Smith as a doctor. Think of all the times that came before. Think of all the black days. Think of all the terrible things. And then let someone else go first.
That's it.
I'm all for the tech. I can see the benefits. But so I ain't going first.
Yeah.
No.
Jackie Chan's the same thing. He has another stuntman who does his stunts first. Well, when he did his stunts, and yeah, and and Jackie, of course, Jackie started out as that guy, as the guy who'd go first, and yeah, and you best believe the person who goes first, well, if they're smart, they'll at least protect themselves.
If they're smart, they'll take all necessary
Precautions.
protections, but you're still pushing into the unknown.
Yeah,
And the
and I'm not.
unknown is where everything we don't know is.
Is it, dude? That
So
is
maybe
it.
it's good, maybe it's bad. We don't know.
Yeah, for sure. No, I guess we should jump back into the world of the
Oh,
puerile.
it's
Yeah.
almost 11 o'clock, so
Oh
we've been
shit.
talking for
Yeah,
an hour and a half. So
this is fun. Let me
let's
see
put a
what
pin in it for now and we'll
yeah.
come back.
Shall we end it here?
Let's end it here. It's a
Yeah.
nice cut-off mark.
Yeah. All right. We'll just leave it on this
Nice.
one video.
We've started talking about Jackie Chan. We're going to be
Yeah.
here for another hour and a half. So
Yeah, man, dude, that was a great chat, and I loved your sermon about the puerile outlook that one has when they first engage in
yeah,
the
it's not at
sentiment.
first. I think it's important to note that if the same drives that can push a child into superhero fandom, the same appeal that it has, the same kind of core emotional beats that it resonates with, can be used so ineffectively, so maliciously as an adult.
Hmm.
Remember, don't look to a hero to save you. You don't need someone else to save you. You've got to save yourself. We've got to work together to do this. Don't look for someone to make things simple by just punching the villain.
Yeah,
The world is far more complicated than that. I wish it wasn't. I don't want it to be complicated, but it is,
yeah,
because the people you're punching, they want something too. And they've
yeah.
probably got family and friends in the background. So
That's
that's
it.
it's
Like Muhammad Ali says, I'm not going to go to Vietnam and fight somebody who did nothing to me. Or, and
yeah.
and the other one was it. We tend to be pitted against each other. It's like in the Squid Games. I don't know if you've seen that drama, but I really liked it. Pitted together so that we can, by certain powers, so that we can not fight them. There are certain people putting us up to fight them. To fight each other, so we don't fight, so we don't turn against them. And it's usually it starts with war. It starts with these situations that we've created for ourselves. It's like these superhero shows show us that we're looking for a hero to save us on, and confirm our biases that that person was bad, so go and punch them for me, you know. And ultimately, you could, yeah, but like Dragon Ball shows, on all these shows, you find that you make allies with people who are once your enemies, and come to realize that, hey, you know, we're not
Yeah.
so, as Dr. Evil said, we're the same, you and me.
The greatest thing Goku ever did was turn his enemies to allies.
The whole
He
Z team is
showed
made
them
of that.
compassion. He showed them
Yeah,
respect,
yeah,
and they ended up allying with him. We can
amazing.
show respect to our enemies.
Yeah, people we think
We
that this
might
person deserves to
just
die. This
turn
is
them. We might just
yeah,
ally with them.
yeah. You never know exactly.
I think it was
That's
Mark Twain who said the only way to truly defeat an enemy is to make them a friend.
you're right, because they're not going anywhere, and the enemies within the ego just always picks something you need to enemies with, and it's not going anywhere, going away. You'll find a new enemy if you defeat one, but you must,
There
as you
will
said,
always be another. There'll always be another.
yeah, to befriend them. That Mark Twain, that's a genius quote. I'm gonna take that and use it.
Yeah, I say I think it was Mark Twain. Someone in the comments
Oh,
correct me if I'm wrong.
or with
Um,
ChatGPT, if you
oh,
go on the
Travis,
bottom
yeah,
of
yeah,
it,
just
yeah, yeah.
someone check that quote. But yeah, I say that's I like the idea of becoming the best version of myself that Stan Lee promoted. But
Mm,
I do think that Akira Toriyama's Buddhist arguments of peace
mm,
and cooperation
pretty
were the
fascinating.
better.
Yeah.
With that.
With that, people, that's it for today. And Gamer Dan's got some games on the way. We got. I try and
Yeah,
do it today.
I say the first couple of videos for Marvel's Midnight Suns are dropping soon. They're currently being edited. It's taking a bit longer than expected, but you know what? That's the process. We've all, we know how this work plays out. But the next couple of Bear and the Bird, sorry, Banjo Kazooie videos are currently being worked on, so those will drop soon. In the foreseeable future, in the next couple of weeks, the beginnings of gameplay videos will start dropping, and we'll get these out.
Looking forward to it, my
Um,
man. So much. Yeah, I mean, of course, the Marvel games are proposed and germane to this video, but the Nintendo or the Nintendo classics such as Banjo Kazooie is apropos to our talk of where Nintendo will go next. And yes, people, next week, the dynamic will be a bit different because I'm moving at the moment. So, but that being said, I'm going to try at some point to get into on the gaming action. But Gamer Dan's kind of carrying this whole operation right now. I'm just able to talk about songs and so on, but I really want to go deep onto the games things. But I just need higher tech. Game Dan's got a lot more tech than I do. So yeah, thanks very
Yeah,
much.
I've got games. I've got the games, so I'll play them.
Yeah,
But yeah, I would say we'll do that, and if you're interested, well, I will happily jump on and do a little chat. Or
yeah,
I really enjoyed looking the game Next Fest, playing demos and just doing quick off the cuff chats about games. So if you're interested, I'm willing to just do quick reviews of
yeah.
smaller games. I'm currently playing a few Metroidvanias to
Sure.
cleanse my palate while after my last big game.
I'm sure we'd love that,
Um,
man. Yeah, definitely. I'd love it, for sure. And people in the comments were already expecting follow-ups. So I'm saying, okay, hold on, guys. But yeah. But oh yeah, last thing but not least, if you please get back in touch with Saj. And I went and edited his name out last time. Excuse me. If you can get back in touch with Saj. And see if you can get a game going because he wanted to play, but now I'm moving. It'd be kind of trickier to get in touch.
sure,
But
sure, sure.
serious, I really appreciate that. And Professor Suzuka, if only she came today, man. She went to a Nintendo
Yeah, she
headquarters.
recently went to
Goddammit.
Kyoto to the Nintendo branch, and I've seen some of the pictures. They look amazing. She got,
Insane.
when you
Where,
go,
where
they
is she?
have
Goddammit. Yeah.
the even the plastic bags you get are high quality, man. It is awesome.
Please,
I
Professor
want to
Suzuka,
go,
hear
but
us.
I want to take out a loan. Seriously, I won't be able to afford everything I want to buy.
Yeah, I used to live in Osaka, mate, and I had my chance, but oh well, I was busy. So one thing I'm going to do this year, my
Yeah.
New Year's resolution halfway in is to, or a quarter of the way in, is to have more free time. Yeah.
I
People,
heard that. I heard that.
yeah, let's
With
do it.
that,
Cheers, mate. We're gonna do it
peace,
again.
everyone.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace. There you have it.
Till next time.